Are you an agency owner struggling to book meetings to your calendar? In this video, I'm basically going to be touching base on the main reasons why a lot of agency owners struggle to book meetings on their calendar, and not only just meetings, but qualified meetings. It's very easy to go out and book a shit ton of meetings on your calendar, but it's a little bit more difficult to go out and book qualified meetings and qualified appointments on your calendar, appointments that are actually going to be buying your service. And not only that, appointments that are actually going to be good contenders or good potential prospects for your service, right? Because it's not every client, and it's not every potential prospect that is a good client for your service. And sometimes as an agency owner, you're going to want to just bring them on board because obviously you have certain fees to cover. So a couple things I want to touch base on. One, spending more money on marketing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have more meetings on your calendar. Obviously, inevitably, if you have a certain cost per book call or cost per book appointment, well, if you spend more, you're obviously going to have more meetings booked on your calendar. But the thing is, you could also play around with those metrics by optimizing other parts of your funnel. When I say funnel, I don't necessarily just mean landing page. I could mean ad video. I could mean even your pre-qualifying filters, right? Because sometimes, depending on the filters that you have on your application questions, that will essentially dictate your ability to book. That will essentially dictate your ability to book qualified appointments on your calendar. And then not only that, the actual verbiage that you guys are using in your ads, right? The copyright on your landing pages, the verbiage that you're using in your VSL, how long your VSL is. All those factors essentially play part in, booking qualified appointments. And I think one big issue that even myself has struggled with as an agency owner is I'll book appointments on my calendar, and these appointments could potentially be qualified, but the issue is we're not properly pre-qualifying them to prepare them for the meeting. So although the actual prospect is qualified, they're just not properly prepared for their demo or for their strategy call. And because of that, they don't end up completing a purchase. So literally everything from A to Z, as far as your whole funnel goes, the process that it takes to really book appointments onto the calendar and actually book and properly prepare somebody for the call also results in you onboarding and collecting cash. So if we take a couple things into perspective, right? Let's talk about our initial ad video, right? Your initial ad video and your VSL essentially have to be congruent and have to contain very similar information, have to contain basically information that is aligned with itself, right? Don't have a video ad on the front end saying one thing and then have a different guarantee that's set in your VSL, because that's essentially going to put you in a position where people are getting confused, and now you don't seem like a man of your word because you're essentially saying something in an ad video, baiting them to the landing page. They get to the landing page, watch it, they see something completely different, and then based upon that, they end up either just leaving the page or they don't want to book in a meeting because things that you're saying are not properly resonating with them based upon the information that you're giving them. It's too diversified. So from your ad video to your VSL to your pre-call video, everything has to be in line with what you're actually offering them, what guarantee is going to be in place. And not only that, the information in those videos also have to be the information that you're going to be giving them and displaying to them when you get on that call, right? When they book their appointment and they talk to you on the phone, they want to be hearing exactly what they heard in your video ad, and they want to be hearing exactly what they heard in your VSL. There has to be content that is obviously withdrawn, which is the how-to factor, right? You tell them what you're going to do for them, and you tell them potentially how you're going to implement certain things, but you don't necessarily tell them the strategy that it takes to get there. That's why they're booking a session. When they get on that call, the objective isn't necessarily to persuade them. Your services should be so good that they sell themselves. You should have proof in the back end that actually sell your service itself, right? Whenever you get on sales calls, you shouldn't be sitting there having to convince somebody that your service works. At that point, they're not bought in and they already don't believe in you. The only objections that you should really be getting on your sales calls are one, cash objections, and two, the social proof aspect. A lot of people, when they get on the phone with you, they're putting up money, right? So what happens anytime somebody's putting up money? Well, they're gonna believe that they're getting scammed somewhere at some point. Now I'm gonna have to continue this video in a second because it's starting to pour hard, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me like that. Yeah, so I lost my train of thought. But point being is, more often than not, this doesn't necessarily come down to your ability, like I said, to spend more money. I don't even remember where I was at. But anyways, one thing I do want to touch base on, at least in the same sort of ballpark when it comes down to closing more deals, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to think about this. What do you want to do? More volume, right? As in more booked appointments, more qualified calls, whatever it is, right? Or are you just looking to collect more cash? And more often than not, when it comes down to this, it's always a volume game versus a quality game. You could have 3 calls a day booked, but 2 out of 3 of them could close for 10, 15,000, 30,000. So you have to really put certain things into perspective. It doesn't matter to have more deals on your calendar, because more deals doesn't necessarily mean more cash. It's a matter of you getting the right people on the phone and you getting the right people in front of you, and these are the right people that are going to close. Like if you thought about it from a perspective of conversion rate, right? Are you willing to spend 2-3 times the amount to book a call into your calendar and increase the odds of it closing by 50% or 75%? You could literally have like a 50% closing rate, granted that you're going through all the proper qualifications to book people onto these meetings, right? But also, you also have to take into consideration there's a possibility of you potentially missing out on money because you're hyper qualifying leads. So it really comes down to what you're looking to do and how you want to strategize and attack it. I've attacked this from literally every angle, from the front and the back. Yeah, I've attacked this from every angle. I've tried to do the volume game. Issue is with the volume game is you get burnt out, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, the people that you have on the phone are gonna get burnt out. If you have setters and they're making dials, they're gonna get burnt out. If you have closers getting on, every single one of these calls and they have 10 calls booked a day and you're closing at like 1 out of 20 calls booked in, these people are going to get burnt out. But if they're making more money, if not the same amount of money by having less calls booked on their calendar, let's say 3-4 calls booked on their calendar per day, you're taking like a quarter of the calls or 30% of the calls, and you might be closing at a 30% ratio now or 35% ratio. Think about it from a motivational standpoint too, for the people that you have on the phone. Like it's difficult for you to put people on the phone and consistently put leads in front of them that are just not going to close, right? And as much as it's difficult for them, it's draining for you as a business owner, because you're sitting there and you're like, yo, why are you guys not working? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? But bro, you also have to be able to give your team the tools to properly implement into their day-to-day, right? These people are human. You got to treat these people like they're human. Like a large majority of business owners just go out there, treat their salespeople like fucking garbage, and then expect them to close deals. No, bro, this has to be a strong working environment, and a working environment where people are actually motivated to getting up and, making things happen. And they're going to do that by you giving them the proper tools to be able to make these things happen. So it's as simple as that. And you guys have to think to yourselves, what does it come down to? Are you looking for more cash, or are you looking for more volume? Ask yourself that question, because more volume doesn't necessarily result in more cash. You could have significantly less volume. You could cut your volume in half and close 2-3 times the amount of deals, right? But that's gonna be today's TED Talk. I have something big coming for y'all too. For those of you that have been following me for like a long time, I have something huge coming for y'all. So just stay tapped in, stay tuned in. The link to our Discord, as always, is in the description down below. I appreciate you guys. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.